What's up, y'all? It's Jakob Knows Best, your resident stylist, creative director, and storyteller within fashion. And today we're going to be talking about Doechii and how she is the antithesis of respectability politics. And for the people who may not know, respectability politics, coined by Evelyn Higginbottom, is the strategy of essentially abandoning cultural aspects to assimilate for social mobility. This was commonly done during the post-emancipation period, and in practice we saw this as people changing their clothing as well as speech in order to achieve social mobility. And so applying this to Doechii's outfit, she's able to remain within that professional business aesthetic while still incorporating things such as face tape, underwear, the swamp, things that aren't normally seen on the runway. My point to bringing Doechii into this conversation is that whether consciously or subconsciously, she actively works to reject these ideas by bringing essentially what makes her marginalized into the mainstream. And in order to connect this idea of Doechii and her being the antithesis of respectability politics, we're going to dissect all of her clothing. Starting out onto the scene, she came in with this darker clown aesthetic and then slowly moved into the swamp, and then now she's in this businesswoman attire with Tom Brown. Coming at the gates with crazy and persuasive, Doechii set the tone of how she was this alternative rock girl with these creative hair looks and gothic grungy style, but essentially she was a blank canvas that remained little to no closed. Or if she was dressed, it was in a way that communicated that she wasn't going to follow traditional music standards. And so as she raises in popularity, we see her speak about things such as mental health and rejecting what she thought she had to do. And then we begin to see this air of the swamp begin to emerge, the dirty, the ugly. And what makes this so beautiful though is that we saw brands such as D Squared, Dion Lee, and a lot of emerging brands come up dressing her during this time. Connecting this to Higginbottom's work, which I'm then applying to the music industry, we read how the adherence to hegemonic standards by rejecting core values creates challenges not only within the everyday life of Black Americans, but it also has large negative effects on their mental health. And so in turn, by Doechii making this rejection of these hegemonic standards, it has allowed her to lean into parts of herself that she may have been afraid of before, such as wearing wig caps at the house or wearing a chest prosthetic. And it was then by embracing those weird parts of herself, Doechii and stylist Sam Woolf began to culminate her style into this now alligator bites era. And in this era, Doechii has begun to merge structure, tailoring, and a prep school look to communicate that she is here to be taken seriously, but she's going to do it in her own way. And so by partnering with brands such as Miu Miu and Tom Brown, she is effectively showing that Black women can wear this type of clothing in a non-traditional way, one that allows for braids and even Bantu knots. And what's funny about the brands that Doechii is wearing is that traditionally they communicate this professional chic aesthetic, but they communicate something completely different on Doechii. Yes, still professional and chic, but a Black woman standing in herself, a Black woman doing something different, a Black woman being weird but still being professional. And so it's really interesting to see how respectability politics and this idea of having to look a certain way to get ahead doesn't necessarily apply to Doechii, and how Doechii has allowed herself to turn that and make that into her own in order to be successful. Remember, y'all, Jakob Knows Best, and hit that like and subscribe button because next week we're going to be discussing all things Met Gala, so make sure y'all tune in.